Can Jerry Kill turn Clark Lee into James Franklin? We got Kurt Page on, and we'll tell you why.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate GM. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is a brand new mobile game that is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. So use the promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, inside the game store and receive a free boost to your program. Begin your coaching legacy today. Speaking of today, we welcome Dr. Kurt Page. He is now, since we last saw him, he is now the strength and conditioning coordinator and running back coach at Prattville High School. Welcome back, Kurt. But a few things that we want to talk about here, and I got you on for 2 episodes. This is going to be a 2-parter, so buckle up. But Clark Lee is mentioned upon seeing it for the first time. He's very impressed with the stadium renovations when complete. Jerry Kill, and we've talked about this a lot. He's been the best offseason addition, and what he's going to be able to do with these quarterbacks is simply amazing. So when you look at Jerry Kill and quarterback development, what makes him so special? Why does he seem like he's the quarterback whisperer here?
Well, I think the number one thing is he does what these quarterbacks can do well. And he's tailored everything he's ever coached at every level to what the quarterbacks can do well and be very, very efficient and effective. And you know, Corey, if you can adapt and be adaptable in this game and this time, then you're going to have success. And that's what he can do with all his different style of quarterbacks. And he's a proven commodity at that.
Yeah, adaptability is probably the number one thing you have to be good at Vanderbilt. So like the development of these quarterbacks, you know, reading all the practice reports, all the scrimmage reports, things like that, it seems like they're experimenting with some things. First of all, especially combinations of the offensive line, and we'll get to them in a little bit. You know, the wide receiver room has been pretty slow to develop. It seems like there's a little bit of a struggle. Is that just a standard learning curve, or is there something to the struggle?
I think the number one thing you got to keep in mind, Corey, is that they're going up against a much stiffer defense than they've ever gone up against before. So they're getting a lot of quality reps, and they're also finding out what they can and can't do. And one of those things is trying to pull things together in the running game, pull things together in the passing game, and then find out who can make the big plays at the big time. Because let's face it, their defense this year is going to be more equipped and better than they were last year. So they're getting quality reps preparing them for the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've maintained on my show that, you know, these reps, some of these, quote, struggles are good because, like, that's what preseason camp is for. That's what fall camp is for. You have to break things in order to find out how to fix them, right? You don't go and break the fact that you can't throw the ball down the field when you line up against Virginia Tech. You want to break that in scrimmage 1 so that you can figure out how to either maneuver around it. Maybe you employ a 2-quarterback system, but whatever it is, you go back to that. There's a key vocabulary word here. And if you guys are taking notes at home with your marble notebooks and your number 2 pencils, adaptability is the number one vocabulary word here when it comes to this Vandy offense. And I think that's going to be super, super important.
Well, I think so, Corey. The big thing, too, is just being able to have some guys that know the system. They know what the adjustments are going to be. And with Jerry Kill and Diego and just all the guys they've got, they're going to be able to make adjustments and be able to grow with the talent pool that we've got around them. They got to have at least 2 running backs that can play. They need at least 2 tight ends, maybe 3 tight ends. So you're going to see more of a time management, ball control, quick strike at times if they need to when they face a team that doesn't want to play that style of football, because you know, Corey, now it's play fast for the whole time. And if you go up against one of those teams that's what they programmed, and you know we might see 8-10 play drives, you know, and just get field goal, touchdown, you know, that type of thing. So it's going to be a different type of game when you go up and play Vanderbilt Commodores from this day forth. And a strong defense is kind of like spring training, Corey. For baseball, defense and pitching is always ahead. And so I like the sounds that are coming from McGugin Center. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, there's been some flashes of some really brilliant things. I mean, we're hearing that, and all these things are a quarterback's best friend. A really good tight end room, as you know, is a quarterback's best friend. Ask Carson Beck. Ask Stetson Bennett. Ask J.J. McCarthy. Ask these national championship winning quarterbacks. Ask Patrick Mahomes at the NFL level. Ask Brock Purdy. The two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, elite tight end play, right? You have to have that in this day and age because those guys are a nightmare matchup. And you get a guy that can do those things, it's amazing. So, like, one of the things that I think would be good for Diego Pavia and Nate Johnson, if they have a package of plays for him, we'll talk about that for a second too, is having a really dynamic elite tight end room because you can go 12 personnel. Eli Stowers, who's your faster wide receiver type, but he's a bigger body that can also kind of be involved in the run schemes. And then you have 6'7" Cole Spence. Nightmare in the red zone. He's been having a phenomenal camp. Just a massive target there. Just like as a quarterback yourself, having those safety valves, it's just utmost importance, and it's just kind of that safety net that makes you feel comfortable a little bit. If you're in trouble, find those guys and let's roll.
Well, you know very well, Corey, as a play caller, when you have that tight end and you're able to run the football, you're putting those linebackers in a jam. Are they going to come and play the run? Are they going to come and play the play? Are they going to delay their blitzes? What are they going to be doing? And so right over the football in that middle zone, that's where we want to attack. And I think that is where we have programmed ourselves to attack. As you mentioned, those two star athletes that we got inside, that's going to be a key. And then also blocking on the perimeter and getting that ball in the flat to those guys and getting the bigger wide receivers to block downfield and throw your smoke, your routes in the flat to the big tight ends to backs. So there's a lot of creativity that can happen with an offense. Corey, that's what you did when you called the plays back in high school for us in Nashville, Hillwood. We were able to put guys into space and have good blocking and protection for those guys. And a lot of times you can hide an offensive line that's still developing. The offensive line that we want at Vanderbilt now is going to be guys that we know we can run the football and then run counter plays off the football. So there's a plan and attack. We've said that since back at the start of the year when you were seeing the staff being formulated, and we're so glad to see it now that we're getting closer and closer to August 31st.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is these guys are stars in the making, and I think it's going to be kind of fun to see how they develop this thing, because when you're trying to be creative, when you're trying to create explosiveness, being able to stretch the field vertically is something that we were able to do at Hillwood with Hale, Miller and Eric and all those guys. We were able to stretch the field vertically so that we could create space horizontally when we wanted to throw short, when we wanted to throw our RPO game or screens or whatever. They were effective because we were able to back them off. Vanderbilt, I don't think, is going to have that same luxury, at least early on.
Right.
How do you get to a point to where you can legitimately stretch the field vertically, but you can't really do it because you can't push the ball downfield accurately? So I think you have to be super effective in stretching it 53.5 yards wide and being able to hit passes, hit throws in tight windows and things like that.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Corey. I think you're going to see a lot of complementary football, meaning yards after catch. Mm-hmm. We're going to have guys that are getting one-on-one, get them open on a little stop route, a little out route, and make the defenders out there tackle our guys. And that's where we really – and now it goes to what? It goes to strength and conditioning. That's my field. Mm-hmm. We have hired the strength and conditioning coach. So not only are the linemen bigger, faster, stronger, we got to believe that the receivers are bigger, faster, stronger, and also all our defenders. So I see us just tremendously at a point where we're tremendously on the rise. And if our bigger, stronger, faster guys are on the perimeter, that puts a bind in guys that are maybe they're quicker, maybe they're faster, maybe they're not as strong and as physical. So it's going to be exciting to see that even parlay into the off-season conditioning to in season to where you see bigger bodies out there on the perimeter. It's just a different thing because we don't have that world-class speed outside to really blow the top off. Now we're going to have to catch those intermediate routes and turn a long dig into a touchdown or a long corner route into breaking a tackle. And then eventually, this, Corey, the defenses are going to become impatient. So they're going to be coming up. They're going to be playing some press coverage. We can get off the ball if we're stronger, and maybe we move guys that we want to have get the ball, just from a standing start. If you see guys coming across in motion, they could be the guy running the out and up. They could be the guy running the wheel. I mean, you did all this in 2018 when we led the state in passing. You were creative, moving guys. And in our offense at Vanderbilt and watching New Mexico State from the past couple of seasons, they're always moving, shifting formations, going from twins into the boundary to twins in the field by shifting pre-snap, then motioning back into the boundary. So it's a lot of exciting things, and I know you're waiting as I am to see it all unveiled August 31st.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when there's something to having a lot of moving parts when you're in a camp situation like this, there's a lot of kinks to work out, a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that are going to happen in fall camp that you got to work out. So, but there's an interesting offensive line strategy that I want to get to. And then of course, when you talk about offensive line, we're going to dive into your field of strength and conditioning. We're going to do that next. This episode is brought to you by Ibata. Kurt, did you know that in the summertime it means it's barbecue season? You love barbecue, right? You can stock up on all your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibata. So you don't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both, really. So Ibata is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop, earn hundreds on items like groceries, beauty supplies, even toys. So when you make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibata user earns $256 per year. That's pretty crazy. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibata, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account or your PayPal account or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores or Lowe's or Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. This time you joined over the 50 million users who use Ibata to earn cash back every time they shop. So right now, Ibata is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibata by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibata app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. All right. Thank you for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Thank you to the everydayers, including one Kurt Page. College football is back. It is not too late to catch up before the season kicks off. SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12. You can get it all from Locked On's stable of college experts by subscribing to the Locked On College Football podcast. Who has a chance to make the playoff? What teams will cause chaos in their new conferences? Everything you need to know all in one place. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Locked On College Football podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're here with Dr. Kurt Page, strength and conditioning coach, head strength and conditioning coach of the Prattville Lions?
Yes, sir. Prattville Lions. We're in Prattville, Alabama. We just excellent program, and our head coach is Coach J.B. Wallace, and we're looking forward to getting the season kicked off this week.
Man, I love it, man. You guys are playing. If most of you guys are going to be watching this on Thursday, you guys are kicking off tonight. You excited about it?
We're very excited about it. The kids really worked hard. The coaching staff. We're eliminating emotional interference, and we're coming together as a staff. And we're really looking forward to this season. And we had 3 victories last year. And as you know, I was down in Mobile. So he's got some new staff members, and J.B. Wallace is doing a great job. And we got a lot of kids that are really working hard, looking forward to our season.
Man, I love that. And we're going to get into some strength and conditioning stuff here in a little while. But I want to talk offensive line first because we love talking offensive line. Okay, here's a unique strategy that a lot of people don't know about. I've heard about this. I've seen it used. I've been at a couple of places where this strategy has been used, and it goes against your standard right tackle, right guard, center, left guard, left tackle type deal. It moves guys around based on their strengths. So you have a strong side, which is usually your right tackle, right guard personnel, where it's like your bigger bodies that are just walling off people. And then you have your quick side. Those are your pullers, your reachers, your outside zone guys, your pullers on screens, on slow screens, things like that. Your strong side guys are your anchors, your boundary pass protection guys, your down blockers that just wipe everything out. I think Vandy has a pretty good group here. I think employing this strategy has been really good for their offensive line because I think it takes advantage and pairs guys up that you wouldn't normally see get to play. But now, like a guy like Xavier Castillo, who has been just kind of fish out of water because he's big, massive. Well, he's going to be that strong guard, and he's just going to collapse down on a one technique all game long, and that fits his standard. He's not going to have to pull a whole lot. He's not going to have to reach a whole lot, which is something he's not good at. So the strong side, quick side thing, can this work?
Absolutely, Corey. It's everything recycles itself. Way back when I played, and also before when I was in high school, we had the bigger guys. And you look at your defense. Where do you put your biggest guy on defense? You put him at the one technique. You put your best athletic, your biggest, second biggest guy at the three technique. So all we're doing is matching up. It's better for our matchups. We get the biggest guy at the right guard, and they have that one technique. So him in the center are double teaming or blocking down on that guy, controlling the middle so we can attack the middle. So the repetition is over and over and over getting done by that right guard. And then your right tackle has to be a long guy. You described everything perfectly. I mean, are you not a general manager for them? I mean, you're sitting.
I need to be
breaking it down like perfectly. Now the tackle, he's blocking down. He's running to the backside backer. It is setting up the counter tremendously. Now your right guard is a quicker guy that can run in space, so he can do his skip pull. You know all about this, and he kicks the guy out. And then your tackle, that guy has the great vision. He turns up the hole, and he knows which linebacker or safety to block. So they get to do this over and over and over. So it's really complementary to what is going on in defensive football. Because a lot of times, if you have a 280 to 300-pounder trying to block down that one technique that's 315 to 330, that's a mismatch. So he gets driven back. What does that do, Corey? It makes the skip pull guy to run the hump. And so the timing is off.
And linebackers can fly, and
that one step can make a difference in that play, getting 5 yards and getting no yards. And so what we've got to do, as you know, stay on track. And if we can stay on track, we can get those 5 yards, those 3 yards, those 4 yards, and then first down, and then throw the ball out to the tight end, throw the ball out to the flanker, run a flanker sweep, jet sweep, give the eye candy. So, I think really and truly it is an advantage for us that we're training our guys to do something they know they can do. So when you call your bread and butter play, whatever it is, you call your bread and butter play, those guys have confidence, and that play can be effective, and they can be right, and they can have success. So that's what's going to be happening. I can't wait to see it August 31st.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the bread and butter run, if it's an option play, I think it's going to be that power read where the back flashes across and quarterback pulls. That's Diego Pavia's best run. And I think if it's just a straight handoff, it's going to be an outside zone stretch, either to the boundary or to the field. I think you're going to have some sort of motion shift. There's going to be something happening to kind of window dress and to kind of get those linebackers either bumping the wrong way or just playing a half step slow, which in this league, a half step slow may as well just be done, right? And so the offensive line being able to just like you have your quick guard, he's just pulling. And and then you have like a crossover period where like you have your strong guys that do the quick guy stuff, and then you have your quick side guys do the strong side guy stuff so that you can break some tendencies too. Like that's important, but that's not going to be their primary thing. Like a quick guard is never going to block down probably more than 5 times a game.
Right. And I think that's strategic thinking. I mean, you basically it's all about matchups. And if we can get the better matchups 90 to 95% of the snaps, then we're advantage Vanderbilt offense. And if we don't do that, then we're at disadvantage, now.
And yeah, so it's a disadvantage. It's matchups. It's all that stuff. We got Kurt Page coming back here just a second. Technical difficulties. Welcome back, Kurt. You were saying.
Yeah, just the advantage that we'll have for guys doing the repetition over and over and over, the consistency of learning, knowing what they're doing, how they're doing it. And so when that play is called, that they know they can be effective. And I think that's what's going to be the really bright spot. And the thing about it is we're not only going to get better in these preseason camps, scrimmages, these practices, but the real improvement will start when we start our season and they start really blocking other people that don't know, what aiming point we have. Are we blocking more into the hip? Are we blocking more into the thigh? Are we blocking up shoulder level? Where are we blocking? And that's the thing that Virginia Tech doesn't know, how we're going to be blocking. Absolutely. And everything's new to them. So this will be a complete surprise. So, but the most important thing about having an effective offense is mindset. So and that's what Coach Steiner has been brought in to do, to change the mindset of everything, eliminate the emotional interference, get a competitive, healthy mindset in. And we're going to talk about that next. All right. This episode is brought to you by Ultimate GM. Hey, Locked On Vandy fans. I want to take a moment to give you a heads up on a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to love as much as I do. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. In this amazing game and simulation, you get to step into the shoes of a head coach and lead your college football program to glory. Can you imagine actually being the head coach of Vanderbilt? From recruiting players and hiring coaching staff to overseeing training camps and handling scholarships, you control every crucial detail of your program. It's all in your hands. Will you be able to handle the pressure? Kurt, will you be able to handle the pressure? I would love to handle it.
Love it, dude. Love it, love it, love it. I would absolutely want that smoke. And here's what I really love about the game. You're responsible for calling all the offensive plays during the games. I know you're shocked, Kurt, about that. Your strategy will not only determine the success of your football season, but will shape the future and legacy of your program. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. You can play on the go as you want, when you want to. And, of course, we have a special offer for all Locked On Vandy fans. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk as it will get your team off to a strong start. So download the game. Just visit the ultimate-cfb.com or look it up in the App Store. That's ultimate-cfb.com or look it up in the App Stores. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching legacy today. Welcome back. Thank you for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Thank you to the everydayers. You make all of this possible, and you probably made it possible for Dr. Kurt Page to get that really cool looking lamp that he's got going on in the background there. Make sure you check on Locked On SEC as your next listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Man, we're talking with Dr. Kurt Page. We got a two-parter, so you're gonna have to hang around after this episode and tune back in tomorrow for some more of Dr. Kurt Page's wisdom here. He's bringing the freaking heat over here. So I want to talk mindset, okay? And there's a lot of things with mindset. Emotional interference, okay? That's something that I heard you say. I've heard you say it before. You said it again in this episode earlier in the show. Vandy eliminating emotional interference. What does that mean? How do they do it? How's that, at least offensively, or you can talk for the whole team as well, really. But how does that affect the team? How does that improve performance?
Well, immediately you've got to understand what are the controllables. What are the controllables? What can you control as a student athlete at Vanderbilt? And so you have to decide and figure out yourself through guidance, through the coaching staff, what are the things you can control. And then the other things you have no control over, you don't even think about those things. you just don't even go down that lane. You stay out of that. You stay off of that lane, that freeway. Emotional interference is happening at alarming rates for everybody, for students, for athletes, for persons, for people, for families, is all the control that you think you can control so much. And you really can't. The things you can control are what's going to be your energy for that day. What's going to be your attitude for that day, for that moment. Not for tomorrow and not for yesterday. Because when you show up tomorrow, it's not tomorrow, it's today. So you got to bring your best self today. And I think that is the biggest thing, the learning thing for Vanderbilt and for everybody that's playing college football, high school football, or any type of sport at all. You have to do your best on that day and understand what you can control. You can't control another teammate getting to class on time or getting to meetings on time. You take care of yourself and take care of your area. And if everybody is doing that, or majority of guys are doing that, you're going to have a really good product, because there's so much emotional interference through social media. There's so much emotional interference about doing this or doing that, about what you should be doing, what looks good, what are the pro scouts looking for, what are the NIL deals from all the other players, who's going in the transfer portal. You can't control any of that. You have no idea who's thinking about transferring. You have no idea what really guys are in the NIL are getting paid. So why even talk about it? Why even waste energy on that? You only have a finite amount of energy, so use the energy on things that you have control over. That is learning my assignments. That is addressing the things that need to be addressed today. What I got to take care of today. You know, what's important now? That's my win. What's important now? And if Vanderbilt plays with a sense of urgency and offensively, you know, I talk about this with our guys at Prattville. We just want to get to the next line. There's 20, you know, there's lines every 5 yards, right? There's certain players on our team, when they get the football, I want them to attack the next line. That's what I want them to do. And there's certain guys on our field that are big play potential. I want them to attack the goal line. So we have different standards for different players because it's their ability. And they know where they stand. Same thing at Vanderbilt. They know who can tackle that football and take it to the next line. And so you just want to really break it down. Simplicity works if you got everybody on the same page and it's simple. Just like you set up the offense for 2018 at Hillwood, led the state in passing. It was simple. We read certain people, and we did the red, yellow, green system, and we moved the football up and down the field. And that's what emotional interference, what it does, it gets you off your anchor. You've got to be anchored into something. And I love that, because that's Vanderbilt. We're anchored into, we're going to play strong defense, strong offense, strong kicking game, and we're going to be a handful for everybody that plays us. Are we going to win every game? Probably not. Are we going to go to the national championship game? Probably not. But you know what? Can I control that? No. So I don't even entertain my thoughts on that if I'm a player at Vanderbilt or a coach. I'm just getting myself ready, my group of guys ready to perform to the capability that we have eliminated all emotional interference we can. And so I look forward to seeing them on August 31st.
Man, I'm ready. Okay. My wall doesn't stand a chance right now because I'm ready to run through it, man. That's amazing. Like, you just don't realize how much that stuff gets in the way, because mindset, this thing right here, can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and simultaneously both at times. And to be able to eliminate all that stuff, man, is phenomenal, and it'll help you kind of get out of your own way a little bit. But we're gonna leave you guys on a cliffhanger right here. We talked offense. We're gonna flip this thing over to the defense, but you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow for that. We're gonna come back to part 2 of Dr. Kurt Page. Kurt, thanks for joining us, man. You're definitely going to stick around, though, so it's not goodbye. It's see you in a few minutes. But man, I'm loving this, man. You guys, hopefully, you guys will crush it tonight in your game against Pikeville Road. Is that? Yep,
Pike Road. The Patriots.
Pike Road. Yeah,
they're ranked number 22 in the state of Alabama, and so we got a huge challenge for. They're 11-3 last year and lost to the state champion for 6A, Saraland. So we got a work cut out for us.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yes, you do. You definitely got your work cut out for you, but hey, you guys can handle it, man. And college football is back, man. So we're going to take a look towards the end of tomorrow's show with Florida State and Georgia Tech taking on each other across the pond. So that'll be interesting. But tune in tomorrow. We'll see you back here then. Dr. Kurt Page will be with us again. And we'll see you then. As always, behave yourselves and anchor down.